React Native is great for shipping fast and with confidence, but are you ready for that? These days, having a stable and comfortable development setup that encourages shipping new feature and doesn't slow you down is a must. You have to ship fast and be ahead of your competitors. React Native plays really well in such environment. For example, one of its biggest selling point is that it allows you to ship updates to your application without undergoing the App Store submission. They are called over-the-air updates. The question is your application ready for that? Does your development pipeline accelerate the development and shipping features with React Native? Most of the time you would like the answer to be simply yes, but in reality it's complicated. In this section we present some of the best practices and recommendations that allow you to ship your apps faster and with more confidence. And it's not just about turning on over the air updates as most articles suggest. It's about building a steady and healthy environment where React Native shines and accelerates innovation. And that's what this part of our guide is all about. Run test for key pieces of your app. Focus testing on key pieces of the app to have better overview of the new feature and tweaks. You don't write test at all or write low quality test with no real coverage, and you only rely on manual testing. Building and deploying apps with confidence is a challenging task. However, verifying if everything actually works requires a lot of time and effort, no matter if it is automated or not. Having somebody who manually verifies that the software works as expected is vital for your product. Unfortunately, this process doesn't scale well as the amount of your app functionalities grow. It also doesn't provide direct feedback to the developers who write the code. Because of that, it increases the time needed to spot and fix a bug. So what the developers do to make sure their software is always production ready and doesn't rely on human tester, they write automated test, and React Native is no exception. You can write a variety of tests, both of your JS code which contains the business logic and the UI, and the native code that is used underneath. You can do it by utilizing end-to-end testing framework, spinning up simulators and emulators, or even real devices. One of the great features of React Native is that it bundles to a native app bundle, so it allows you to employ all the end-to-end testing frameworks that you love and use in your native projects. But be aware, writing a test may be challenging task on its own, especially if you lack experience. But you might end up with a test that doesn't have a good coverage of your features, or only to test positive behavior without handling expectations. It's very common to encounter low quality tests that don't provide too much value and hence won't boost your confidence in shipping the code. Whichever kind of test you are going to write, be it unit integration or E2E, short for end to end, there's a golden rule that will save you from writing the bad ones. And the rule is to avoid testing implementation details. Stick to it and your test will start to provide value over time. You can't move as fast as your competition. Chances of regressions are high and apps can be removed from store when receiving bad reviews. The main goal of testing your code is to deploy it with confidence by minimizing the number of bugs you introduce in your code base, and not shipping bugs to the user is especially important for mobile apps, which are usually published in app stores. Because of that, they are subject of a lengthy review process which may take time from a few hours up to a few days. And the last thing you want is to frustrate your users with an update that makes your app faulty. That could lead to lower ratings and in extreme cases even take the app down from the store. Such scenarios may seem pretty rare, but they happen. Then your team may become so afraid of having another regression and crash that it will lose its velocity and confidence. Don't aim at 100% coverage. Focus on key pieces of the app. Test mostly integration. Running test is not a question of if but how. You need to come up with a plan on how to get the best value for the time spent. It's very difficult to have 100 lines of your code and dependency covered. Also, it's often quite impractical. Most of the mobile apps out there don't need a full test coverage of the code they write. The exceptions are situations in which the client require full coverage because of the government regulation they must abide by. But in such cases, you are probably already aware of the problem. It's crucial for you to focus your time on testing the right thing Learning to identify business critical features and capabilities is usually more important than writing a test itself. After all, you want to boost confidence in your code, not write a test for the sake of it. Once you do all that, all you need to do is decide on how to run it. You have quite a few options to choose from. In React Native, your app consists of multiple layers of code, some written in JS, some in Java, Kotlin, some in Objective C, Swift, and some in even C++, which is gaining adoption in the React Native core. Therefore, for practical reason, we can distinguish between JavaScript testing with the help of a Jest framework in the context of React Native. If you think about unit or integration test, this is the category you will eventually fall into. From a practical standpoint, there is no reason for distinguishing between those two groups. End-to-end app testing with the help of Detox, Appium, or another mobile testing framework you are familiar with. Because most of our business code lives in JS, it makes sense to focus your efforts there. WebDriver test, JavaScript test, static analysis, end-to-end integration, unit, static, JavaScript testing, writing test for utility function should be pretty straightforward to do so. You can use your favorite test runner. The most popular and recommended one with the React Native community is Jest. We will also be referring to it in the following section. For testing React Native components, you need more advanced tools. So let's take the following components as an example. It is a React component that displays a list of questions and allows for answering them. You need to make sure its logic works by checking if the callback function is called with the set of answer provided by the user. To do so, you can use an official React test renderer from the React core team, or it is a test renderer. In other words, it allows you to render your component and interact with its lifecycle without actually dealing with native APIs. Some people may find it intimidating and hard to work with because of the low level API. That's why the community around React Native came out with a helper libraries such as React Native testing libraries, providing us with a good set of libraries to productively write your high quality test. A great thing about this library is that the API forces you to avoid testing the implementation details of your component, making it more resilient to internal factors. A test for the question board component would look like this. You first enter the question boards component with your set of questions. Next, you query the tree by label text to access an array of questions displayed by the component. Finally, you set up the right answers and press the submit button. If everything goes well, your assertion should pass, ensuring that verify questions function has been called with right set of arguments. You may have also heard about a technique called snapshot testing for JS. It can help you in some of the testing scenarios. Example, when working with structured data that may change slightly between tests. This technique is widely adopted in the React ecosystem because of its built-in support from Jest. If you are into learning more about snapshot testing, check out the official documentation on the Jest website. Make sure to read it thoroughly, as to match snapshot and to match inline snapshot are low level APIs that have many gotchas. They may help you and your team quickly to add coverage to the project. At the same time, snapshot makes adding low quality and hard to maintain test too easy. Using helpers like ESLint plugin Jest, and with no longer and it's no large snapshot option or snapshot diff with its component. Snapshot comparison feature for focused assertion is a must have for any code base that leverages this testing technique. E2E test, the cherry on top of our testing pyramid, is a suite of end-to-end tests. It's good to start with so-called smoke test, a test ensuring that your app doesn't crash on the first run. It's crucial to have a test like this, as it will help you avoid sending a faulty app to your users. Once you are done with the basic, you should use your E2E testing framework of your choice to cover the most important functionalities of your app. This can be, for instance, logging successfully or not, logging out, accepting payments, and displaying list of data you fetch from your or third party servers. Be aware that these tests are usually a bit harder to set up than the JS one. Also, they are more likely to fail because of the issue related to, example, networking, file system operation, or shortage or memory shortage. What's more, they provide you with little information on why they do it. This test quality not only the E2 E1s is called flakiness and should be avoided at all cost, as it lowers your confidence in the test suite. That's why it's important to divide testing assertion into smaller groups so it is easier to debug what went wrong. For the purpose of this section, we will be looking at Detox, the most popular E2E test runner within the React Native community and part of the React Native testing pipeline. With Detox, you will be able to ensure that your framework of choice is supported by the latest React Native version. That is especially important in the context of future changes that may happen at a framework level. Before going into any further, you have to install Detox. This process requires you to take some additional native steps because before you are ready to run your first suit, follow the official documentation, as the steps are likely to change in the future. Once you have successfully installed and configured Detox, you are ready to begin with your first test. This quick snippet shown above would ensure that the first question is displayed. Before that assertion is executed, you should reload the React Native instance to make sure no previous state is interfering with the results. When you are dealing with multiple elements, example in our case a component renders multiple question, it is good practice to assign a suffix test id with the index of the element to be able to query the specific one. This as well as some other interesting techniques is in the official Detox recommendation. There are various matchers and expectations that can help you build your test suite the way you want. Benefit: you have better overview of the new features and tweaks, can ship with confidence, and when the tests are green, you save the time of other people. The QA team, a high quality test suite that provides enough coverage for your core feature is an investment in your team's velocity. After all, you can move only as fast as your confidence allows you to, and the tests are all about making sure you are heading in the right direction. The React Native community is working hard to make testing as easy and pleasant as possible for both your teams and QA teams. uh, Thanks to that, you can spend more time innovating and pleasing users with flashy new functionality and not squashing bugs and regressions over and over again, having a continuous integration in place. So yeah, we will check this in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.